Let's make some noise. Come on.
Noise indeed, Nick Foles, the patron saint of the final word. Welcome back, everybody, to the said final word here on the It's a Rap Sports Network with your boy, MattyB. On the call, there's the little logo up there in the corner. I feel naked without it. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to our final broadcast episode of this week, another abridged week, and it's going to be another abridged next week because of the situations with post-game galores dividing and conquering along the network and providing as much post-game coverage as we can do. It is what it is. And so tonight, we're going to wrap up the week, and then I'll be back, I believe, on Tuesday next week. And we'll do a Tuesday and Thursday, I think. I think that's what it is. I think it's Tuesday and Thursday next week. So again, we're gonna weather through this, and we'll get to the end of this at some point. I know a lot of Flyers fans out there don't want it to end, and that's essentially what's causing this. It's the Flyers. It's the Flyers and the post game obligations for the Flyers as we head into the stretch run of the season and hopefully into the playoffs. But tonight, we're going to do a twofer. This is the twofer night, right? I got the final word, and I got the I'm doing Clear the Ice, Flyers, Red Wings. And I'm doing it. I know it's going to be a rough one. 6-3 was your final tonight in the Motor City. The Red Wings all over the Flyers like a cheap suit. I mean, it was they jumped on them early and often, and they didn't really relent. I said earlier in the week, Detroit was going to play this game like a Game 7 in the Stanley Cup. And they did. They're chasing every last little point they can try to get their grimy little hands on. The Flyers, did they take it for granted? Did they lay down? Do they feel that they have secured their spot in the playoffs? Have they quit? Are they programming losing this thing? If that's the case, that's a problem because the Flyers are not in a position to be in a program loss mode. The Flyers got to go 100 miles an hour for every single game that they can also get because they have not locked anything down as well. Big loss tonight in a lot of different ways. And as we move into the show at the latter part of this one, we go into Clear the Ice. I'm going to get into it. We're going to break down 2 goals in this game. 2 goals. Because I thought the 2 goals that we're going to break down, I normally don't break goals down when we do a twofer, but tonight, you're going to get a special 2-goal breakdown edition of Clear the Ice because these were very strategic and very game-changing type goals. And I want to highlight some of the inequities or inadequacies of the Flyers in these goals. And that's sort of what we're going to talk about tonight as our show title indicates. Sort of the perception versus the reality, right? Is that the name of the show tonight? I don't even know what the hell the name of the show is. It's Perception. What is it? I got to look it up. Now you're going to make me look it up the name of my own show. Maybe I should know those offhand. It's going to be Perception. Wow, man. I know Perception's part of it. Perception and a twofer, right? Because currently right now, I think we're dealing with perception. The fan-fueled frenzy of the Flyers. A lot of F's in there. I handle that like a champ. And the inadequacies and this and what's going on with the Phillies. So I want to really dwell into the perception of both of these teams tonight. The perception from the fan standpoint and maybe the reality of the actual standpoint. Because I like to keep people grounded in reality as much as I possibly can. I'm a realist. About both these teams and about the Eagles and about the Sixers and about every other team that I look at as well. It's all about the reality versus the perception, not the magical little fairyland that homers live in that think that, you're going to wake up, Sasquatch is going to come drop off your mail as you hop on your unicorn and go to work. That's not the type of world I live in. I'm going to give you the bare bones perception versus reality. And that's really much what we're going to hit tonight with the Flyers and the Phillies. Pretty much the Phillies on the front end and then the Flyers on the back end because I'm going to lead that into Clear the Ice. We are going to do your day in Philadelphia sports history as well as our of the night segment. No card breakdown today as I don't have that much time. I got to do the of the night, and that's not negotiable. That's going to have to happen at some point in the show. So We're going to go fast. We're going to go furious. Our final show of the week. It's great to be back here on the It's a Wrap Sports Network. And just to kind of get everyone's whistles wetted, this is what's happening on this network tonight and the rest of the week. You have me and the Clear the Ice. That's tonight. It's all me all the time tonight. Tomorrow, Phillies Diamondbacks standalone fight and final. There is no Philly Friday Frenzy tomorrow. Al had a personal reason that he needs to take the day off. So it'll just be the post-game show. I believe Mike Lauro will be hosting that on Saturday. You're going to have the best of the It's a Wrap Sports of the week, and then the Flyers D-backs, or Phillies D-backs, not the Flyers D-backs, Phillies D-backs and Flyers Jets post-game activities. And on Sunday, it's the Philly AM Sports and then the fight and final for the Phillies and D-backs. So there's your schedule for the rest of this week. And, again, a lot going on. We got to keep everything in perspective. Davey, RIP Davey Lopes. Yeah, man. I realize life leads people. We're all headed to the same spot in life, right? But I was literally watching. I had a lot of time on my hands this week. I wasn't working this week, and my family was out of town. So I spent a lot of time watching old YouTube things, pretty much like 6 days worth of it. And a lot of old All-Star games, went down memory lane on some of those. And Davey Lopes, of course, former Phillies first base coach, former Dodgers first base coach, former Dodger standout player. He was an outstanding player back in the late 70s and the early 80s for the Dodgers. Part of that that dynasty that they had going on back then, or that really good stretch of seasons they had in the late 70s into the early 80s. And this is just the reality and the mortality of all this, man. Another one that I grew up idolizing. It sucks, man. It sucks. It sucks that we're all going to end up moving into that spot in life, right? Or in death. So obviously, absolutely, Star Wars. Rest in peace, Davey Lopes. One of the best ones, one of the greats in baseball. For those of you that are not familiar with Davey Lopes, again, go back and watch YouTube. Trust me, take it from me. There's a lot of Davey Lopes stuff out there, especially if you want to look at some of the older All-Star games. He's all over those. Great player, great coach, great baseball person. So, yes, rest in peace, Davey Lopes. Absolutely. Sixers and Flyers lost. I don't care about the Sixers. I don't really care about that. You guys want to talk Sixers? We can. It's really a waste of time, in my opinion. But we can talk Sixers if you want. Joe House checking in saying, what's up? Yes, it will. We will have the final two games of the week next week, Monday and Tuesday, of Clear the Ice. And then we'll just sit back and wait and see where it all kind of clears out for the potential playoff run. So, yeah, we've gone this far. We're going to take it the rest of the way. So there will be Clear the Ice next week. 2 games, I think Tuesday and Wednesday, or Monday and Tuesday. What is it? Yeah, Monday and Tuesday. All right. So let's get on going with the show. I got a lot to get through and not much time to do it. We're going to start with our day in Philadelphia sports history, as we do every week. This day back in 1913, in a 1-0 victory over the Dodgers, the Phillies took the win in the inaugural game played at the iconic Ebbets Field in Brooklyn. So on this night, the first game ever played at Ebbets Field, the legendary home of the Brooklyn Dodgers, the Phillies beat the Dodgers 1-0 to start the Dodgers off on the loss side of their home schedule all time. And no, once again, I'm not reporting this through firsthand eyewitness account. I wasn't standing in the bleachers. I wasn't eating Cracker Jacks in the front row of Ebbets Field. No, I wasn't there. Or I wasn't getting ready to ship off to France. No, nope. I wasn't there. I'm going off of written history here. Other than housing the Dodgers until their move to Los Angeles in 1958, Ebbets Field was also a historically relevant football stadium. New York's first professional football team, the Brickley Giants, precursor to the modern-day Giants of New York, played the home games of its first and only season at Ebbets Field. So congratulations to the Phillies for starting the Brooklyn Dodgers off in the loss column on this night in 1913 at Ebbets Field. One of those old-timey stadiums that I really wish I would have had a chance to go to. That's why when you look at stadiums like Wrigley and Fenway, places like that, you really should make an effort to get to them, because they are the ghosts of what baseball used to be. And I know they pretty much have gutted these stadiums out and replaced them with modern anemones, but they still have the echoes of the past. And it's a damn shame what they've done to some of these older places. The original Yankee Stadium, one of those places, gone, right? New Yankee Stadium's in its place. Here in Philadelphia, Shibe Park and all that, the Baker Bowl, gone. Places like that, man. I get it. Time marches on and so does progress, but it's a shame that people are not going to have an opportunity to go really back in time. So if you have the opportunity to go to Fenway, or if you have the opportunity to go to Wrigley, I highly, highly recommend you do it, because you never know how long these places are gonna stick around for. I understand they'd probably have to, the entire city of Boston would be barricading any attempt to knock down Fenway Park, but I'm just telling you, you never know, and go to places like that, because they speak to you from the past. And just to think that these are the places that Babe Ruth played at, or all the legends of baseball, not the modern era, but the entire era of baseball. It's absolutely a beautiful thing. And on this night, the Phillies handed the Brooklyn Dodgers their first ever loss at Ebbets Field back in 1913. And that is your day in Philadelphia sports history. Brought to you by the kind folks here at the It's a Rep Sports Network, creators of such great programming as the quintessential, the only destination for Flyers postgame, the Clear the Ice Show, a Flyers postgame show, live here directly after every single Flyers game. Tonight, you got me on the back end of this thing doing a twofer. I will come at you with Clear the Ice in a little bit. And on Saturday night, you got Mike Laro checking in against the Winnipeg Jets as the Flyers go on their final road game of the 25-26 regular season. I context that by saying regular season. And they must win out in Winnipeg. Must win. As the Flyers were unable to handle their business tonight and got throttled 6-3 by the streaky Red Wings. Dylan Larkin and Alex DeBrincat. Larkin's got 33 goals and DeBrincat's got 40 goals. How are you a team that's right now on the outside of the playoffs when you have scorers like that? I would kill for an Alex DeBrincat. Imagine what we would be like with an Alex DeBrincat on this team, or hell, a Dylan Larkin, or an Austin Matthews. I don't know, man. We'll get into that a little bit later on in the summer about potential John LeClair moment trades, but we will do some Clear the Ice here a little bit later on. So let's get into tonight's show. Perception and a twofer. Perception is different from reality. It is vastly different from reality in every walk of life: sports, family, love, business, work, school. Perception and reality are two different things that we grapple with on a daily basis. And in this city, when it comes to sports, Philadelphia sports, perception is clouded versus reality. It's almost like a constant battle of perception and reality. Everything from, to give you an example of what I mean, the perception is, or everyone's perception, or a lot of people's perception is, that Jalen Hurts is an elite quarterback. The reality is, an elite quarterback would never not complete a pass and a half of football in a game. And Jalen Hurts has done that twice in 2025. That's what I mean by the perception versus the reality. But it swings the other way as well. And I want to get into it tonight, especially with the Phillies and Flyers at extremely critical junctures of both their seasons at this point. The Phillies 12 games in. That's the perception, but the reality is about 512 games in of their season, and the Flyers streaking their way to breaking the 5-year playoff drought, hopefully this year. The perception is they're a young up-and-coming team. The reality is they're lacking a lot of key pieces to truly be a Stanley Cup contender. Again, that's the example of what we're going to do tonight with these two topics. We're going to speak the fan perception versus the reality of the team, and why. And I understand, and I want to hear more examples of why it's important, or why some fans believe pumping up, hyping up, perceptioning up your team is better than dealing with the reality of your team, because that's what we do here on a constant basis. We take something that is what it is to look at and touch and feel and we take it a whole other way. And I want to know why. Why are we in such, and I'm saying we, because I'm specifically talking about the Philadelphia sports fan here. Why is perception constantly, or reality constantly getting its ass whipped versus perception? And it goes both ways. And I'm not calling out the homers here. I'm not, because the realists sort of kind of do it too. They don't really, but there's two sides to this. There's absolutely two sides to this. And I'm not going to single out the homers tonight. I probably will at some point, but my intention is not to single them out. But so the Phillies right now, 12 games into a season, 6-6, licking their wounds in a lot of ways, coming out of San Francisco, coming out of Colorado. They went on an interesting road trip. Winnable, 6 winnable games. I don't care about the House of Horror crap. And again, the perception is, well, we don't, these are winnable games, but I'm sorry. The perception is we are cursed to go to San Francisco and play. It's a curse from God. We can't win in San Francisco. But the reality is the San Francisco Giants stink, right? But we're going to grapple around perception. We're going to tightly hold on to the perception that we can't win in San Francisco because of some voodoo god force that withholds us from winning. Colorado, we took 2 out of 3, should have swept. The Phillies really should have walked out of this West Coast trip at 6-0, and they should have. The perception of their team on paper is they're that kind of team, but the reality of what they are on the field has been and is such a different story. And I want to dwell into all of it here. And the biggest news story of this is fire Rob Thompson. Rob Thompson's got to go, right? The perception is Rob Thompson's asleep at the switch, can't run baseball, doesn't have a feel for the baseball game, runs it from a binder, emotionless slug. And the reality is all of those things. No, the reality though is, and I'm doing this for a certain way. The guy wins games, and he's won a lot of games in the 5 years that he's been here. But where are we with this? Where are we with the Rob Thompson debate? Is it legitimate to start talking about firing a manager 12 games into a season? Because that's the perception of this, that we're only 12 games in. But of course, the reality is we're about 512 games in. So a lot of people are going to tell you, there's no way you fire a manager 12 games in. There's just no way you do it. That's stupid. Some people are going to say, but we're not 12 games in. We're well more than 12 games in. And these are the same things that we deal with year after year with this team under Rob Thompson. Would firing Rob Thompson on April the 10th or April the 9th really change the outlook or course of the season? Don't know. Obviously, you can't answer that question unless you do it. Could the firing of Rob Thompson submarine the season in April? Don't know. Could very well do it, but we don't know because we haven't really done it. Should you be held back of fire? Should there be fear or trepidations around firing Rob Thompson? Absolutely not. Because of the just failed opportunity year after year after year. So you could take a standpoint of saying it can't be much worse than this, because I think the team on paper and the perception of this baseball team is that they are almost Freudian slip. They are a playoff caliber baseball team. But is that really the perception that the Phillies want to, convey to people? The perception that they want to convey is that they're a World Series competing baseball team. And you could, based on the numbers of these players and the histories of these players and where they've come from and what they've done in the past, you can make that argument that they are a World Series contending baseball team on paper. But the reality is it just hasn't worked out on the field. Pitching is not a problem for this team. And I love hearing people all throughout the offseason. Papernick's one. I'm going to call you out, Papernick. No, pitching sucks. Pitching is not the problem. Even if the pitching were to suck, as you would say, with these players that suck with the current pitching staff, both bullpen and rotation, with this group, suck would be like middle of the road in the MLB. They would be like right there at the middle point of MLB pitching rotation or pitching staffs, because it's a very good staff. It's a very good collection of pitchers. They've done their homework. They're coached up right. They're big gamers, majority of them. This is the kind of group you want to have going into October on the mound. I 100% agree with that, and I've never not agreed with that. But the problem is, has, and will always be the offense. And it's so goddamn plain. Like the nose on your face. How can anybody at any juncture of any point of the season up to this point, and using all the seasons that have already preceded them under Rob Thompson and this current regime of players, look at this team in any other light and put the blame squarely on the offense? Because that's where it belongs. The underachieving offense that hasn't been able to live up to the expectations or the perception that we have of them, outside fan bases have of them, outside media outlets have of them, maybe themselves have of them. They have not lived up to that. But the reality is, we're stuck like Chuck with this group of offensive baseball players. So getting into the debates of whether or not we need to have Harper waive his no trade clause, or we need to kick Stott out of here, Bohm out of here, all legitimate conversations to be had in the future. But the reality of right now at this point in early April is they're not going nowhere, man. It's just not going to happen for one of about 1,000 different reasons. So in order to elicit change within the team, you're going to have to focus in on the coaching staff. That's the only thing you have to do, or you can do, to elicit change from an outcome that has become extremely predictable and extremely routine and extremely underwhelming and extremely pathetic offensively. Because you're just not going to be able to do anything else. And then does the unthinkable happen? Now, I know there was no announcement made today, but we don't know. Something could have happened today. We'll probably, if we don't hear nothing by lunchtime tomorrow, obviously he has not been fired. I'm not anticipating a statement to be released by the Phillies, but would it be completely off the beaten path to wake up? Would you be upset or mad or concerned if you woke up tomorrow and the lead story was Rob Thompson out as Phillies manager, Don Mattingly named interim manager for the rest of the season? Now, I think it's interesting that Don Mattingly, who has made multiple statements about this, saying he has no interest in managing again. I'm not asking him to manage much longer. I just want him to do 2026. We can go find another manager next year, but I need someone to obviously hold down the fort. I think Mattingly would be the obvious replacement, even though he has stated he does not want to manage anymore. But I think if offered the job, I think he'd take it. And I think he'd be the best chance the Phillies would have to salvage 2026. Unless you're going to go outside the organization, which I don't know if you can do. I mean, you could do it. Has anyone been stalking out the airports? Has Dusty Baker been seen at Philly International? Has any of those guys been spotted walking out of the plane gates? But I think it's interesting, though. The perception is the Phillies are only 12 games into a season. The reality is they're well beyond that under this current regime. The perception is, from a lot of people, that the Phillies on paper are a World Series contending team. The reality is it has just never lived up to that. And as a fan base, a lot of angst is coming down on the pitching staff. Somebody was blaming, I was reading stuff yesterday that Nola pitched a terrible game yesterday. Nola did not. Nola's pitched really well this year. Coming from a 6.05 ERA, and just everything was completely up and slow and no bite to it from 2025. He's pitched pretty damn good start off 2026. Not the contract he signed good, but pretty good. And then the Christopher Sanchez, there was some backlash on Christopher Sanchez. What are you people watching? What exactly are you seeing that I'm not? Because Sanchez put you in a position to win that baseball game yesterday. Nola put you in a position to win the game the other day. When your offense literally doesn't score any runs and only bangs out about 11 hits through 2 games, you're not going to, I don't care if you got Nolan Ryan or Randy Johnson out there, you're going to lose games if you don't score any runs. It's just kind of reality as it is. And it's unfortunate that you can't live on the fact that they could somehow find a way to win a game without scoring a run. That might be some perception versus reality. That's mental illness versus reality, honestly. But it's never been about the goddamn defense or pitching, or the pitching. Sorry about putting the defense in some sort of glorified light. Did not mean to do that. It's always been about the offense. And how do you change the offense? The perception on this offensive baseball team, for me, the perception of it is an unstructured lineup. Players that don't fit together. Players that don't mesh into a lineup together. I don't care if you're trying to build a lineup in 2026 or 1906. These players, the way they are profile-wise, you can't really build a lineup around their skill sets. But I think, honestly, the perception is when you look at the big boppers we have, why are we averaging 3 runs a game? Why are we stranding 8 runners a game on base? Why is our wrist batting average 206 when you got Kyle Schwarber, Bryce Harper, Trey Turner? These are 3 very big names in Major League Baseball. Why is that happening? They're getting hits. They're averaging 8 hits a game. They're getting on base, right? But we're just not able to do anything with it. The perception is this team should be able to score runs. The reality is they're not. Why? The perception is they got batters that should be able to be big-time run producers, but the reality is they're not. Why? I have done hours of investigative reporting on this, and what I have come out to understand and what I believe it is, it's the manager's fault. It is, as simply put as that. The manager's inability to do anything different offensively with this team. The manager's inability to look at Alec Bohm, to stand Alec Bohm and Bryson Stott up in the room. Sit at your desk, have them stand in front of your desk and stare at them for hours and try to tell me where in your mind you see a cleanup hitter and a 5-hole hitter. What exactly are you looking at that tells you that? You don't even, I don't even know. Listen, I could be an outside freaking goddamn observer to this. I could be a Colorado Rocky fan and never pay no mind to what's happening in Philadelphia with the Phillies. And if you came at me and said, MattyB, I know you love the Rockies. Yes, I do. Let's go Rockies, go, 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 whatever we do out here. Did you hear the Phillies are batting Alec Bohm 4 and Bryson Stott 5? Okay, well, refresh my memory. Who were Alec Bohm and Bryson Stott? And you showed me just their pictures. I'd be like, what the hell are you? Huh? Who is running the friggin' train with that baseball team? I get it. The team is mismatched with you don't have a 1 through 9 on that lineup. You don't. You got about 3 number 4 hitters. You got 2 6s, a 7 or 2 7s, a couple 8s. I understand it does not. They don't have a 6. They don't have a 2. We don't have a 5 or a 4. Well, we do have a 4. We don't have a 6. We don't have a 5. And we don't have a 2. I think that's legit, right? But to sit here and try to Alec Bohm or Bryson Stott being anything but bottom end of your lineup. And listen, if I looked at Alec Bohm's numbers and I looked at the rest of the lineup and I said, well, they're lacking a 2-hitter right now. So either if they don't want to move Crawford up to the leadoff hole or leadoff spot, then okay. Then move Bowman to the 2-hole because he doesn't strike out much, right? He makes contact with the ball. He may not get many hits, but he puts the ball in play. But to try to sell the people, to sell us on Alec Bohm and Bryson Stott 4 and 5, I don't understand why the city of Philadelphia is not in complete meltdown mode over this. And we knew it coming out of spring training. We knew it on the final day when they had their game against the Rays. They put out the roster, and then that idiot says, well, you know what? No, this might be what the lineup looks like for opening day. Damn near fell out my chair when he said that. Because at that point, I had to start wrapping my head around Bryson Stott batting fifth. Batting fifth. And what is Rob Thompson? Now, Bryson Stott's batting around 186. And he's been pulled out of multiple games throughout the season in late inning situations for matchups. Rob Thompson is reinventing baseball. Right? You guys really don't know how lucky you are. You're seeing historical stuff right now from this buffoon. Right? Not only does he not see the clear violation of having Bowman, Stott 4 and 5, but he's going out now and he's removing Stott for a pinch hitter for a matchup late in the game. Like Stott was batting 9th or 8th, because that's what you do. When was the first, last, and only time you've ever heard of the 5-hole hitter being taken out late in the game because of a matchup? You're seeing history, folks. You're seeing criminal, negligent, incompetent, ignorant-ass baseball history portrayed by Rob Thompson. So I asked the question, would you be upset tomorrow if the Phillies ganked Rob Thompson? And would Don Mattingly be so bad? Because I'm not asking Don Mattingly or anybody else to come in here and rewrite the friggin' wheel. But I am asking him to do one thing. Create me an actual lineup. An actual baseball lineup that makes sense. Because offensively, the players are who they are. There's no magic wand we're going to wave. They're going to do this the rest of their time here together because they've done it for 4 years preceding that. They're not changing their baseball profiles, their DNA. This is what they are. They are a 230, 240 runners in scoring position baseball team. They strike out a whole bunch. They're not very good fundamentally when it comes to hitting. They don't use all fields. Small ball is a 4-letter word. All those things hold and will reign supreme here in this town while these players are here. But there's no use in getting upset anymore about that or wasting your breath about that. It is what it is. We can complain with Dave Dombrowski at the end of this season when he should get fired when they don't win the World Series again. That's a conversation best held for October. Right now, the 5-meter target, to use an Army thing, is get me a manager that's not going to overthink this, that's going to stand these players up and say, Justin Crawford, I know, brother, you just got here. I know you're a rookie, but I need to do something with this lineup, and you're key to this, so you're going up into the 1 hole. Congratulations. Training's over. You're now leading off. That's where you're going to be batting the majority of your career. So guess what? We're going to start that right now. Trey Turner, you're a prototypical 2-hole hitter, especially on this team because but you're the closest thing I got to a 2-hole hitter. Guess what? You're my 2-hole hitter. Bryce Harper, number 3. You seem to like that. Kyle Schwarber, you're batting cleanup. Shut up. I don't want to hear anything. No, don't want to hear a word. You're batting 4th. That's it. It's over. It's done. You're batting 4th. Over. Garcia, you're batting 5th. Marsh, you're 6. Realmuto, you're 7. Stott, you're 8. Or we can bounce those around. That's the best you're going to be able to do. Damn the analytics. Damn the matchups. Give me a lineup that makes baseball sense. The day in Philadelphia sports history was, the Phillies beat the Dodgers at Ebbets Field for the first time ever in the history of Ebbets Field when they opened up Ebbets Field back in 1913. I guarantee you nobody would have put Bryson Stott batting 5th in 1913. So the lessons of the past still apply to modern day baseball. And I don't know if it's going to fix the problems offensively for this team, but at least I can go to bed at night with the perception that this lineup resembles an actual lineup of real baseball players. And they belong and they're in the spots where they need to be. The reality might be something different, but the perception at least has me grappled on to the fact that they're batting where they're supposed to bat. And that I no longer have to look at Bryson Stott. If I was a manager at the major league level, say I'm the Diamondbacks manager, and we go up to the home plate, we do the lineup cards. I'm going to look down at that, and I'm going to see Stott batting 5th, and I want to see Bone batting 4th. I want to laugh my ass off on the way back to the dugout. I'm like, this guy's an idiot, an absolute moron. And we're going to win the game 6-1. So perception versus reality. Is Rob Thompson, has he worn out his welcome? Is it time to make a move, or is 12 games too soon into a season? But again, it depends on what side of that coin you come out on, because it's not 12 games. The reality is it's not 12. The perception is that it's 12. The reality is it's far more than 12. So where do you guys come out on that, man? That was a long rant. Pink slip, the Canadian buffoon. The only people who are going to fear Robbie being fired are Harper and Schwarber, because a real manager would put these two in the lineup where they belong. Phillies have one main player out in Wheeler and in 4th place, and the Braves have 2 out of their starting pitchers on currently. Kaepernick, again, the perception of that is what it is. The reality of it is it's friggin' April. I have not looked at the standings, and I won't. I refuse to. I have not. I would not complain if the Phillies pink slip the buffoon tomorrow. I mean, Robbie must have picks if Middleton is reason he must have a job. I don't know. I don't know about that. But the perception is, maybe that's what the perception is. Robbie's got naked picture of John Middleton. All right, we're going to open up the phone lines, but I want to caution you, if you're going to get in now, because I do got to transition at some point over to clear the ice. So, Phillies, are we at the point where it's time to make a move? Is it time? Is it a legitimate time in this season at 12 games in to make a move? And would you honestly, I mean, let's face it, would anybody would wake up tomorrow and be upset if Rob Thompson got fired tomorrow? If, as I said, as part of your morning coffee or whatever your morning routine is, that the news of Rob Thompson's firing worked its way into your routine, would you actually be upset? I don't think anybody would. Honestly, don't think anybody would, because the perception of 12 games is not the reality. So, I don't know. Anyway, let's go to the phone lines. And my end, Joe Hale will lead us off tonight. Joe, what's going on?
How are you?
I'm doing well, Joe. How are you?
I'm not pissed the Flyers lost. Here's why. You said perception. Nobody picked them to go over 500. Am I right? Not even you guys.
No. Well, I don't know what I picked them. I forget that. No, listen. See, that's not what I kind of meant. But your perception is fine. I know there's a lot of people out there that are feeling that way. That, you know, this is all free chicken right now because no one expected them to be at this position. I agree with you. But the way they lost tonight, it's a little concerning, Joe.
Yes, it is. But look at the record after a loss this year. They bounced back. They had the mentality to play. I'm saying it wrong. Mr.
Porter Martone
is a foreigner making.
He's looking good, man. Yeah, looking good.
Who's that guy that they signed today?
So they, what's his name? Jack Berglund. He's a former draft pick coming over from Sweden. Finished out whatever his season was over there and has signed his ELC. So his pro career has now begun.
And he signed with the Lehigh Valley Phantoms.
Well, he signed with the Flyers, but they assigned him to the Phantoms. Yes. Is
he going to be a scorer?
Well, the problem with a player like that is he's coming off of European ice, and he's a forward. He's fast, he's forward, but European ice is a lot different than North American ice in terms of dimensions and all that. They're probably going to take their time with him, but I think they would like for him to be a scorer. I think his ceiling is about a second line guy, but his reality might be a third liner. But yeah, no, he's a scorer. That's what he is.
Is he a center?
No, he's a winger.
I was going to say goodbye, Coots. Nice knowing you.
No, I wouldn't. Well, I don't disagree with goodbye, Coots, but not for Berglund. Not next year. Berglund's going to finish the season with Lehigh, and he's going to start the season with Lehigh next year. I don't see him ready for the Flyers at this stage right now.
Go back to Sweden.
What's that?
They said he can go back to Sweden.
I got to look at that if he's on one of those types of contracts. But typically, I gotta look at that. That might be there is a chance to do that, but I don't think the Flyers would bring him over just for what 6 games in a playoff run. I don't know if they would do that.
Okay. Yeah, and the Flyers also got some good news coming out of a loss. Columbus also lost.
Yeah. Now, again, listen, this does not sink their season. I agree. I mean, the Flyers more than likely, unless they have an epic meltdown the last 3 games, they're going. They're going to get in. I don't know what position they're going to be, but they're going to find their way into the playoffs. The mission accomplished. They're going to get there. That's not what I mean. I don't expect them to win them all, but tonight's game put out a lot of Joe. Their special teams might be the worst in the National Hockey League. All right, I think it's that's a major problem. And I've never seen a team. The Flyers are 78% effective on the penalty kill. That's terrible. If you're an NHL team and you're not operating around the 80 percentile, and you're an NHL playoff team and you're not operating around the 80 percentile, that's alarming. They gave up another shorthanded goal tonight. They've given up 5 shorthanded goals this season. Their power play is 1 for 6, Joe, on the power play. 1 for 6. And
horrendous.
They only killed 1 penalty. They gave up 3 power play goals and a shorthanded goal. Their special teams is special, all right.
I can see the Flyers going 2-1.
2-1 where? The last 3?
Yes. I can see.
Where's the loss?
Carolina.
Well, maybe Carolina has nothing to play for. Maybe Montreal has nothing to play for at that point. Maybe they've resigned themselves in their position and they don't care. They might. But the playoffs probably don't start until Saturday. A week from Saturday is probably when the Eastern Conference playoffs will start. So I don't know. Maybe they play their players, they rest them. I don't know what they'll do.
Somebody said Friday, but I'm not sure.
Well, the season ends on Thursday. That's the final games of the season. Okay. I don't know if they'd have that quick of a turnaround. They probably would. In years past, they've used Saturday and Sunday as the launch points of the playoffs. So I don't know. I don't know if they're a slave to TV and all that. I would do that if I was the NHL. Why not? The weekend.
I'm gonna pull a mic. I've been looking at Columbus's schedule, and they have a crucial back-to-back. They play Boston Sunday, and they play the Canadiens Saturday.
Yeah,
I believe
the Flyers have done amazing since the Olympic break. They put themselves in this position. They fought their way back from the abyss. They put themselves in a great spot. There's probably, I don't know the actual odds of this, but I would probably say if they don't make the playoffs, we're at this point now. If they don't make the playoffs, it's unacceptable because they put themselves in such a great position.
If they don't make the playoffs, I still believe that Danny B and Keith Jones will be back.
Well, so do I. No, yeah. As I said, this is all free chicken right now. This is something they weren't expecting.
Yes. Oh, Canadians play the Blue Jackets on Saturday.
There's going to be some scoreboard watching going on, but the Flyers got to go out to Western Canada at this odd-ass road trip where they go from where were they the other night? They were in Jersey. Then they go to Detroit, and then they go to Winnipeg. I don't really get why that's like that. I don't know who created that schedule, but that's an odd way to go.
Do you start Harrison?
No. You got to get Vladar back in there Saturday night and get a win.
I think you start Harrison.
No. You got to go with Vladar. So obviously the Flyers were riding Vladar, and that's an interesting point. We talked about this last week. Do the Flyers ride out Vladar, until they get to that back-to-back? And obviously that's been the plan. They've been going with him Sunday, Tuesday, and today. I don't know what the plan was for Saturday, but that obviously was the plan, was to ride Vladar. So has that backfired? Dan Vladar looked terrible tonight. Terrible.
He needs a day off.
Well, he got a day off yesterday. What are you talking about? He needs a day off. You got a day off yesterday.
I mean, okay.
No, he's our starting goaltender.
And
Joe, and playoffs is going to be every other day, and he's got to get back out there. And there's no I can't take a game off. Every game means, well, you know that. I mean, every game in the playoffs means something.
They're staying overnight, right, in Detroit?
No, I would. I mean, they got the next game not till Saturday.
They're practicing in Detroit tomorrow.
And flying out in the afternoon.
Yes. That makes sense.
Yeah. In the rush to Winnipeg.
Yes. So the Phillies, I say you move Stott 8th. I like where Marsh is in the lineup. I know he's been hitting.
Yes.
And I think the trade yesterday for that Milwaukee Brewer guy pushed.
What trade? What are you talking about?
You didn't hear about the trade for the
No, who'd they pick up?
Another minor leaguer that play left field better than out of camp.
Who? What's his name?
I'll send it to you when I
I'll look it up. That's all right. I'll look it up after the show. But they completely flew under my radar. I wasn't even tracking the trade.
Yes. I would put Bohm second.
So you're not ready to move Crawford up to lead off yet?
No, not yet.
What are you waiting for? What do you need to see?
Him getting on base.
He's batting 356.
Okay, but he swung at a Bryce Harper ball.
Okay, well, you just said it. A Bryce Harper ball. So Bryce can stay at 3 and swing at Bryce Harper balls, but Crawford can't go to 1 and swing at Bryce Harper balls. I get what you're saying, and I understand. And I agree with you. I don't think it's ready. It's time yet. But is there a need to shake this thing up in the lineup? Like tomorrow, if we see at whatever 1 o'clock in the afternoon, the lineup is what it's been. How are you going to feel?
I think we're going to see a change in the lineup because Rob did say changes are coming in the lineup.
Oh, goody. Oh, thank you, Rob. Man.
Can Girardi make the lineup?
Can Girardi? I don't think he can. He works for the Yankees now.
No, Mattingly.
No, the lineup is the manager's job. That's his baby. That's what the only autonomy. Oh, he has a lot more autonomy, but the one thing he controls 100% is the lineup. Now, I don't know their processes. I don't know. I doubt Don Mattingly was involved in putting Bryson Stott in the 5 hole and in the 4 and Bellman in the 4 hole. That goes against everything that Don Mattingly did as a player, seen as a player. I guarantee you that's all Rob Thompson. But as far as changes, I don't know their process of how they go about it. I know as a manager, that's my thing. I make the lineup. No, nobody should know these players better than I do. I'm making the lineup. I'll take. We can do back and forth arguments or conversations about what you guys think, but at the end of the day, I'm making the decision.
I would move JT 5th, Garcia 6th. I would put Stott 8th, or put Stott 9th. Put Crawford 8th. See what he can do.
Well, then Crawford's protecting Stott. Well, actually, Crawford protects Turner. I don't know, man. Stott needs about 8th, and then throw it away at that. You're never coming out of the 8 hole, Stott. You have another year left here. 2027 is your final year. You're batting 8th until you're a free agent. At the end of the story. I don't care if you're batting 900. I don't care if you bat 900 and hit 45 home runs. You're going to do it in the 8 hole. You're not moving anywhere else in the lineup.
Who saw the average of Marsh? Nobody.
What's that?
Who saw Marsh getting good early this year? Nobody.
No, I mean Marsh was one of the more consistent hitters last year, coming down the stretch. He had a really good spring. But you're right. But are we really putting the eggs in the Brandon Marsh? Is that where we've like de-evolved to? Like Brandon Marsh is going to carry this team? No, but you enjoy it while you can. Now, I hope the change tomorrow is not Edmundo Sosa batting 5th because it's a lefty-righty thing. I don't know, Joe. I agree. There has to be a change. If I see the lineup that we've been seeing, I'm going to freak the hell out, man. There's just no way to justify that lineup can go any further. There's just no way.
Yes, I'll be at the game. I got a busy day Saturday. I'm going to the Phillies game Saturday, and I'm going to the Wings game.
Oh, okay. So you're just hanging out in the arena the whole time?
Yeah.
Or in the complex. So what time is the Wings game?
7 o'clock.
So the Phillies game will be over by 4. Just kind of hang out in Xfinity Live, that kind of thing.
Well, It's not Xfinity Live anymore.
Well, whatever. Yeah, whatever it is.
When
We
it
all know what
goes
we're talking about.
Stateside Live.
Whatever. You're gonna hang out in live?
Yeah, I'm gonna hang out where the Phillies hang out at after the games.
Where do they go?
They go to the Stateside Live. I don't know if you knew
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I've seen him there before. I've seen Brandon Marsh there before. Seen Brandon Marsh doing something with a young lady who was riding the mechanical bull that I don't want to talk about anymore on the air. But
I got
you know, is that mechanical bull still there? You know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah.
I know what you're saying. We'll talk and then I'll let you go because Kaepernick's probably on the other line.
Okay, what's up?
I think they go offensive tackle on the first.
Yeah, we're gonna have to get re-engaged with the Eagles talk here probably next week as we're getting danger close to the draft. So Joe says offensive tackle, huh?
Yes.
Okay. All right, Joe. I mean, at 23. So Sadiq, the tight end's not available at 23. You don't take him?
If he's available, you take him, but if not, you go guard.
Okay. No, I agree. That would be my philosophy as well.
Now, are you guys covering the draft?
I think what we're going to do is kind of how they did it last year. I got to have a meeting about that, but I think we're just going to post up graphics. I don't think we're going to do anything live for it.
I heard Al was going to do something with Mike. That would be cool to watch.
Well, what I think they were talking about was sitting together, watching the draft together.
That would be cool to watch that if.
Yeah, but listen, it would be, but we'll talk about it. But I think what they're going to do is watch it together and then just react through graphics and stuff on our social media. I don't know yet. We got to talk about it. I don't have the staff to do stuff like that yet, but we'll see.
At least the Eagles pick.
What, just come on for just 23 and that's it? We'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see what we can do. Maybe we'll do something like that.
All right. Have a good weekend.
You too, Joe Hale. It's always we'll talk next week. Joe Hale, the man, the myth, the legend. Yeah, that mechanical bull, man. For those of you know, you all know what I'm talking about. Down there, Xfinity. I think everybody has their mechanical bull story. But all right, let's continue on with the phone calls. Mike Kaepernick, what's up?
I have no mechanical bull stories, but
do you know what I'm talking about? Have you've been to Xfinity Live, right?
No.
So if you go to Xfinity Live, the main bar off to the right, there's this mechanical bull that they use in inappropriate ways. Let's just put it to you that way.
Yeah. I know. I just don't have a mechanical bull story.
Everybody does, man. Everyone has their. I thought everybody had one of those.
Well, I'm not everybody, I guess. So the Phillies did make a trade yesterday. They acquired outfielder Stuart Baroa from the Milwaukee Brewers in exchange for cash considerations. He's a 26-year-old. Well, he's a 26-year-old switch hitter.
Okay, 26 years old. Okay.
Yeah, and then they DFA'd right-hand pitcher Yoniel Curet.
So they make room for. He went to Lehigh Valley. Is that where he went?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they had to get rid of somebody on the island.
So let me think about this. Let me just see this. So we trade for this kid who's a journeyman, we'll say, to replace Otto Kemp, who can't play the outfield. When you have you have Nori, the other guy, the right hand power back kid. Oh shit, what's his name? Yeah,
Dela Cruz.
Yeah, Dela Cruz. Yep. And then you got Rincones Jr. Oh, but we're just gonna we're just gonna bottom of the barrel and just let him be the platoon guy to play left field because Marsh can't hit left-handed batters.
And Kemp can't play defense in the outfield.
That's right. So they're going to put another guy out there who's probably horrible too. You know, it's a mess. Listen,
so our outfield comprised of one player who can't hit left-handed offensively and another player who can't play defense in the outfield. My God!
But here's the thing. But here's the problem with that. Just leave Marsh play every day.
Yeah, that's what I would do. Yeah.
Let him play every day. He's your best option.
Yeah. No,
And
I agree.
The Phillies lineup should be what you were saying. It should. Crawford, Turner, Harper, Schwarber, Garcia, Baum, Marsh, JT, Stott. That's it right there. That's the. Look, it ain't. Matty, like I've been saying, I would quit this team right now.
He's about to be the manager.
Well, is it worth it? Is it really worth it? I mean, and then look, I know Nola pitched good yesterday, and the offense didn't show up, but he did give up another home run.
That's 3. Yep.
I mean, he gave up 18 in how many games last year?
Whatever it was, in his very limited at work, he gave up 18. The year before that, he gave up 32. I got you, man. Listen, I hear you.
This team, I know it's the offense. I know that. We know you need your pitching, but Nola hasn't pitched. Look, he's a high pitch count guy. He rolls into the 5th inning with 100 pitches. That's horrible.
It's terrible.
That's horrible. Now you're adding Taiwan Walker to the mix. If Taiwan Walker shits the bucket, who are they putting in there? Who's who? If Wheeler ain't back, who is their number 4 pitcher? They have none.
It'll be a AAA guy. It'll be a Elaine Ringel. It'll be Seth Johnson. It'll be one of those guys that will come up, get his ass handed to him for a couple of games, and then go back down. Yeah, I got you, man. No, I hear you.
That's my point. And see, that's why, like, when I say, like, oh, go in on a Scooble or Skeens, I mean Skeens. I'm not saying it to be sarcastic or joking around. Think about this. Wheeler out. If you had Skeens, you'd have Skeens is your 1. Your 2 is Sanchez, Luzardo, Nola, your 4, Painter. So you see where I'm going with that?
Oh yeah,
they're going to rush Wheeler back. I'm telling you this right now.
Oh, I think so too.
And I think it's going to bite them in the ass.
I agree. I've said this from the outset that they should. But here's the thing, and I come out a little differently than you on this, on the pitching. We've always had this battle. I still think the Phillies pitching, even in the state that it's in right now, starting wise, is top 5 in MLB. I really do. With Taiwan Walker, even with the high pitch count Nola, but listen, Papernick, when you're scoring 3 runs a game, I don't know about
top 5. I don't know about top 5.
Yeah, I think they are. Top 10 MLB, top 5 National League.
Okay.
They're scoring 3 runs a game.
Okay.
They're batting .206 with runners in scoring position. They're leaving 8 runners a game on base. That's the problem. That is the root of the problem. And to try to analyze it down to the pitching, is the pitching perfect? No. But it is definitely a pitching staff and a rotation and a bullpen that can keep you in games, and you're supposed to, with your $89 billion payroll that you have, be able to score more than 3 runs a game.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. But I want to make this as clear as can be. You know, the Phillies only have one main player they're missing. That's Wheeler.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yep.
The Braves don't have Strider. They don't have the other guy with the goofy last name. They lost 2 others, and they're in first place.
And Jackson Profar suspended for the year.
And they're in first place right now.
Yeah.
What is the Phillies' excuse?
There is none.
I keep saying this. We're banking on the Braves to be hurt, and the Phillies will do this, do that. The Braves are going to be hurt every year like that, and they figure out ways to win. This team, man, God forbid if Schwarber went down. God forbid that. This team really be up shit's creek without a paddle. They'd be in trouble.
Be your DH.
I mean, well, you know, to go back to this, Crawford should be leading off. Lead his ass off.
I agree. If you really want to, if you want to shake things up in that lineup, lead him off. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Because then it's lined up correctly. You know what I mean?
I just watched this thing, a little real Kenny Lofton. He was on Up in Smoke, Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson's thing, their podcast. He said when him and Ricky Henderson, you know, when they were just, these were the guys doing all the stealing. Ricky started all that stuff, him, Lou Brock, Willie McGee, all that. But it all came down. Vince Coleman. You caused havoc. Crawford led the what he had. He's a base stealer. Lead them off. Turner,
he had 43
base
stolen
stealer.
bases, 43 last year. Yep.
Picture them two guys on base at the same time. Or
you know
one's on first.
You know how many Crawford has stolen bases he has this year?
None. 0.
One. No, he's got one.
One? Oh, he's got one? Oh, I'm shocked.
He's got one.
I'm shocked.
That's criminal in itself too. That's Robbie. That's all about Robbie. That's all Rob Thompson.
Well, you know why, right? Because if there's a left-handed batter up, you gotta leave the hole open. Well, baseball's changed. I don't think the Phillies have caught up to this. Just let them throw the ball over there like 3-4 times. Then they can't do nothing. It's done. After that.
So you take the bat out of Turner's hand. You take the bat out of Turner's hand. You put it in Schwarber's hand. I don't understand that. I hear what you're saying, but that makes no sense to me. Take the bat out of Turner's hand. Fine. Then you got Schwarber coming up with 2 runners on.
So yeah, I would still steal. I'd still steal.
Exactly. Yes.
You still steal.
That's Rob Thompson. That's 100% Rob Thompson.
Look, we all know that. That's been Robbie since day one. But I'm going to say I get pushback from every homer out there, and I love you all, and and I love every one of you. But all I hear was, Robbie he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. But in the last probably 6 months, I've heard differently. I've been calling his head since the day they hired that buffoon. When they brought him on, I was like, when they lost the World Series, fire him. And look, I don't care if the Phillies won the World Series this year. I don't care if they won the World Series 3 years in a row. I'd hand them a pink slip because you know what? Barry Switzer won a Super Bowl, and Barry Switzer, at least he knew football because he was a really good college football coach. But he won a Super Bowl. Anybody can stand on the sideline and do that. Just Nick Sirianni. Okay, just go in. That's all right. If they win the World Series. That means Robbie lost control. Robbie lost total control. They gave it all to Don Mattingly, whoever's got the brain back there, and Robbie's just going with the calls because right now this ship is all Robbie. This is not Mattingly. This ain't Kevin Long. This ain't nobody. And the buffoon owner sitting up there, he can't see this. That's an eye test.
And that's where the perception of this. It's not 12 games in. It's 512, right? This is Rob Thompson in a snapshot. This is definitely a conversation that has to be had at this stage of the season based on how the team is playing. It's nothing to do with 12 games. And the homers will go there. Oh, it's only been 12 games. No, it's not. It's not been 12 games. It's been 512. You got to stop thinking that way because this is exactly what we've been dealing with year after year after year. It's heading down the same path that has led nowhere in the postseason. So why are we waiting? What are you waiting to see that hasn't been seen yet in 500 plus games? That's what I want to know. That's the story. That's the question. What are you waiting to see? And that's the goes to John Middleton too.
Him to win the World Series. See when he wins, if they win the World Series, then they can blow this off. They can say all the stuff you've been smack talking is no good. He won a World Series. That's what they want. Whether it's this year, if he comes back, soon as he wins, if they were to win a World Series, that's it. We're all wrong for the last 10 years of Robbie.
Rob Thompson's never going to win the World Series. You know that.
Listen. I'm with you on that one because I have no trust in this team. I'm telling you, 4th place. I mean, I forgot there was even 5 teams in this division, so I'm going 4th place. That's how bad I was. I'm thinking there's only 4th. That's why I was calling 3rd. Now they're going 4th.
Listen, the Marlins are no one's doormat either. They're a good, young, exciting team. The Miami Marlins. Look out for them. They may be a contender in the wild card and potentially in the division this year.
The Phillies, it's like you say, Matty, all the time. It's the lineup. If this lineup was constructed right, it'd be fine. Mm-hmm. But the way it's constructed, it sucks. But also the way it's constructed, none of these guys ever get on the same page and hit at the same time either. Nope. Ever since they've been here, none of them have ever hit. But here's the problem. If Matty says to Schwarber or Harper, "Look, I'm moving you around," you might have a revolt in the locker room down there. I mean, God forbid. Now, Robbie did say during spring trade he might bump Harper up to number 2. I don't have a problem with that because you know why? Then all the homers can't say he has nobody protecting him no more. He's got a 50 home run a year guy protecting him. I want Harper to go number 2. And the reason why I like Harper at number 2, he is a threat to steal a base, and he is a very, very good base runner on the bases. Okay, so I think he would be good at number 2. I would bump him up, move Schwarber down 1. I wouldn't have an issue with that. I mean,
so you would have Turner, or is it Crawford leading off? Turner leading off? How would it be? If
Crawford's not, we're not switching it all around because Robbie's not going to do that. So I just flip flop Turner, Schwarber, and Harper. He ain't going to put.
Okay.
Come on, come on. Tell Robbie to make a complete overhaul of a lineup card. It ain't happening. Look, he can't barely make a sandwich, so you're asking too much on that one. I mean, he could do. He came out and said he'd flip them too. Well, that's good enough for me right now. Because
really,
all the people.
Stop getting fit is still okay with you?
No. I don't have a problem. I have a problem with that. I'm talking about just flipping them two because I'm tired of hearing the people, oh, Harper don't have this, Harper don't have that, Harper don't have this, he don't have that. Go talk to Eugenio Suarez, who hit 30-some home runs last year with a guy with 11 home runs behind him. Yeah. Okay, so before he got traded. So I want all these people to shut up about the Harper situation. Put Schwarber 3. No, number 5 would be Bob because I trust him at 5 behind Garcia, because he. It would be Garcia.
So you'd have Garcia 4, Bomb 5,
Marsh 6, JT 7,
8, Stott 9, Crawford.
Yeah, because Robbie ain't going to overhaul the whole thing. He's not going to do that.
No,
so he came out and said he'd flip them 2 around, which I would have no problem because I actually think Harper would have a better season batting in front of Schwarber, whether it's 3 or at 2, with Schwarber batting 4th or 3rd, because Harper puts too much pressure on himself up there to try to one-up Schwarber. I'll stand by that. He always wants to one-up that guy. And I get it. It's competition. I get it. I understand it. But when you can't catch up to the fastball or, your violent swing is going to put you down for a few games because you're trying to do something, just go up there and do it naturally. You said you're going to take more walks this year.
Back to the dugout?
He said a lot. No, well, he said he's going to be, it's okay. Now, I want to ask you a question to get off the Harper situation. I want to ask you this. You look at Christopher Sanchez, you look at Luzardo. Do you think if the Phillies were to bring in Steve Carlton to teach them guys how to throw that slider he had, what do you think about that?
I think it would work more so with Sanchez than with Luzardo because I think one of the things that I thought made that slider like unhittable was the build of Carlton, that slender, tall build. And the
high leg kick, and the real high leg kick.
And that's Sanchez right there. That's the leg. That's the body type. I think that would be devastating because what's Sanchez fastball? 92, 93. I mean, it's not all that world beating. That's not where
I think he hits like 95, 96 when he wants to.
But it's the off-speed stuff that he lives with, and if he can get a sweeping curve or a sweeping slider over that outside edge, he would be a Cy Young Award winner every year. He could
the reason why I say that because you have him, you have Carlton, and you have Hamels. You have access to 2 of the best left-handed pitchers the Phillies probably ever had.
No, I agree.
They should be down there teaching these guys. Just on the bring Carlton especially. I mean, God, that pitch when he threw that slider, and that was ugly.
Of course, the slider was the first one to go, and then that was the end of Carlton's career. But but when it was working, it was working.
I'm not saying, but I'm just saying most Latin players got 50 pitches anyway. So I mean, they could throw anything you teach them.
Now, if you had Carlton, I agree. If he could teach somebody how to throw that, Sanchez, Luzardo, I don't think Luzardo to me is a power pitcher. That's what he is.
Okay.
And Listen, Luzardo's a great person to have in the middle part of your lineup in that 3 or 4 hole. I think that's where Luzardo's natural spot. I think he's a 4 in a rotation, and that's a great spot for him.
With the money he's getting, he's a 4.
Yeah, no, seriously,
he's going to have to be.
He's going to have to be for at least a couple of years. But I think that's a great spot for him to be in. And then his ceiling would be a 3. I don't want him up in the 2, or he's not an ace, so I don't want him in the 2 hole. 3 or 4 is where he to me is where his perfect spot is.
Okay. What do you think about the Pirates signing that kid 9 years at 100 some odd $15 million he's only getting a year, a little over 15. Now I don't know if there's
interesting move by Chris.
Here's the thing. He's a free agent when he turns 27, 28.
Yeah.
Right in his prime. Now here I'm wondering if there's a loop in there, a loop like where he can get out after a couple years or something, an option. I didn't read the contract thing.
Well, so all they really did was add 2 more years to his service time, and they're paying him a little bit more money. That's all they really did. They added 2 more years to his service time because he was going to be at 7 years this year anyway. They just added 2 more years to it. I don't know, to keep him happy. I don't know.
Okay. Why did they pay Paul Skeens then?
They haven't paid Paul Skeens.
That's my point.
I don't think they can afford Paul Skeens. That's the problem. I don't think he wants to stay there. I think Paul Skeens wants out of Pittsburgh in a bad way.
He's going to be out ready to once the CBA, once they figure out that CBA and the money, I guarantee you're going to hear him say he wants to be traded.
Well, he's still got like 3 years of team control left, or 4 years of team control left.
Yeah, but here's the thing with that. When you get Paul Skeens, if the Phillies made a trade for Paul Skeens, I would offer him a blank check, basically, because right now there's no pitcher in baseball. You could say Scooble, you can do it. There's no pitcher in baseball better than Paul Skeens.
No, I agree.
The guy gets no run production. He gets he gets the Cy Young for an under 2 ERA, a little over 2 ERA. I mean, this guy does it with smoke and mirrors out there for the way he has to win. And he ain't winning like 20 games.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my point. Like, this guy's going to want to be out of there. I mean, and that's why you should be making calls to this team and ask them, because otherwise you're going to have the Yankees, Boston, every team, the Dodgers, everybody's going to salivate when that guy's when they hear the word trade from him.
Oh, yeah. I agree, and I'm sure that Pirates have been fielding calls on Skeens already. And also when it comes to signing these players on merit right out of the minor leagues, and yes, Paul Skeens is right now the face of MLB pitching, 100%. I will not argue that, but as well as I do, pitchers are that's a perilous job. But you can be lights out for 2 or 3 years and then go in a dumper. That Tommy John could come up, he could throw his elbow out. There's a lot more that could go wrong with a pitcher's ceiling than a position player that you take chances on coming out of the minors. And Griffin being one of the top prospects in all the game, it's better. It makes more business sense to lock him down a little bit versus Paul Skeens. I think it's just smart business, but I also believe I don't think Skeens wants to be there. And as you said, he's doing it with smoke and mirrors, and he's really doing it for naught. I think the WBC and that high pressure stuff, I really think he wants to do that every day and be part of a team that's going in that direction. And he will be a Dodger at some point in the next 4 years.
Yeah, I thought, Dodgers, Cubs, anybody wants to unload their farm system.
I can tell you he's not coming here, but he'll be a Dodger or a Yankee or a Cub.
I mean, well, wait a minute. Nobody knows what's going on with Aiden Miller's back. That's a big hush-hush.
Yeah, they haven't. He's running. He's running. He's not doing baseball operations, but he's running. He's doing.
I mean,
working out, I guess, but not playing baseball.
Look, Miller, Rincones, maybe maybe whatever pitchers, blah blah blah. You just as long as you can keep Crawford and maybe that Dela Cruz kid or Rincones and Crawford, you got to keep one of them two outfielders. Maybe put a huge package together. I mean, that's what I would do.
Well, Dante Nora is a name that's going to be in a lot of people's mouths, and so is Anthony Keaton. He's another young player that's a high draft pick that's coming up the ranks right now. There's some depth at the outfield position. No, you wouldn't trade Nora?
I guess if if it means if you can keep a Dela Cruz or you got to keep one of them three of them outfielders.
Dela Cruz is a journeyman at this point in his career. They're going to keep him because he's cheap. I guarantee you, Nori might get. I think Nori gets moved at the deadline.
Dela Cruz. Yep. Dela Cruz is drafted by the Phillies.
Brian Dela Cruz. No, the Dela Cruz that's on the Phillies is a journeyman. He used to play for the Marlins. He's been around.
Wait. There's another one that was drafted.
His name is not Dela Cruz, but there's multiple Raconuses in the Phillies organization. But the Dela Cruz you're talking about that's playing for AAA is the journeyman Brian Dela Cruz. It's been around.
Okay, so why don't they bring him up then? I don't understand why they
an option very soon. But he'll be here some point this year. Yes.
I like Otto Kemp. I do. I don't want people to think I don't like him.
I like him too, but he can't play the outfield.
That's the problem right there.
He's demonstrated already.
He's a utility guy, just for the infield. That's it. And
that's okay. That's 100% fine. That's what it is. They're trying to bang a square peg into a round hole, and it ain't working. But yet we're going to hurt him out there. He's going to go out there and play.
Yeah, you ain't met my sons. Well, at least two of them. They think the same way.
Yeah,
they can pound a square peg into a round hole for 3 hours, and they'll look at you and swear they can still do it. You know,
it's amazing.
That's not my bloodline.
It's absolutely amazing to watch. And it's not like you're saying, okay, well, Kemp's played about 20 games in the outfield, and he's had a hiccup in 1 or 2 games. No, he's been in the outfield for 3 games, and he's had a hiccup every single time he's been out there.
And he didn't. It wasn't like he played.
That's a trend.
It wasn't. It wasn't like he played great outfield last year either. Out there, I mean,
but he's lost out there this year.
But the good thing is he could play some first base and he could play some third base. I mean, that's that's a good thing. That's
totally fine, and that's what I need him to do. But they're having Garrett Stubbs play the infield because they were desperate to try to find him a spot on this team. It's criminal what this guy's doing with this team, and
it is.
What's that?
Listening. No, I'm listening.
Rob Thompson. A lot of it's on the players. At the end of the day, they got to go out there and hit. They got to go out there and perform. But when you're not getting put in the positions, if you're being told to go outside and be like, "Hey, Rob, look at me. I'm making a fool of myself in the left field. Why do you keep putting me out there?" That's on this manager's inability to. I get it. Baseball is what it is. It's a game of patience, and it's a game of consistency, and you got to get players comfortable. They got to go through their paces. I understand that. But when you got a guy out there that's been so clueless playing left field in the minimal times he's been out there, why are we still trying to force him to go out there? It just ain't happening, man. It ain't happening. Leaving the infield.
What happened to Sosa? What happened to Sosa playing? Sosa could play the outfield. Sosa played a decent outfield. But I know Sosa played a decent. He played a decent outfield. I don't know much about Dylan Moore. I just know he's a utility guy.
Journeyman.
All these super utility guys they got. They teach them every position, and they're. I get it, but the problem with the Phillies is they don't want to play. If they played Marsh, say 130 games out there, and put him out there for that a little bit, that's fine. But they're not doing that. Marsh is going to want to play like 100, like 90 games. He's going to play like 72 of them. That's what's going to happen. We know it because I'm just shocked that I've seen Crawford play as much as he did, and Robbie hasn't pulled him at all. Like I know he's pulled him. You know what I mean? Like I've seen him play every day, and I'm shocked he's still out there. I'm like,
don't forget he yanked him after the second game of the season, or after the first or second game of the year, and he told him that he needed a rest, and people went ballistic. You're sitting a rookie after 2 games, and one of the games was after a day off. Are you freaking kidding me, man? What do you mean he's a rest?
Well, I'm talking about
20 years old.
I'm talking about because if Robbie's pulling him, because he can't hit lefties or can't hit righties, or he hits one better than the other.
He's done that.
These guys will never learn how to hit when you do that,
and they'll never know how to get you right, and they'll never know how to work out of slumps. They'll never learn how to deal with personal in-game scenarios that they got to have as a professional if he keeps protecting them like that. He's batting the 9 hole. Let him figure it out, man. It's a low-impact spot in your lineup. Anything that he does positive is great for your lineup. Let him friggin' figure it out in the 9 hole. This is Rob Thompson, and this is what some of the issues are here about, is this team really being put in the best possible positions by this manager?
No. Now the Phillies do have a luxury. I see Crawford. He had a couple of miscues with the center field. You know, you can always move Marsh over to there if you want to, because Marsh is a really good defender. He's a really good defender. So you have that luxury. If it comes out, you can always say, Crawford, we're going to put you on left. Let Marsh run. He's more acclimated with it. It's easier. You know, I think I would maybe want to see that if there's a little bit more. You know, with Crawford misjudging balls and different things. And I know he hasn't played out there. You know what I mean? Here's another thing. Where's Gary Maddox? Why did they have Gary Maddox working with these guys? You got a guy.
I saw Gary last summer, actually.
This guy could be working with them. Where's Rowan? You know, when he was there, Aaron Rowan. I mean, I think of these guys. I mean, these guys, I want to leave you with this. I think the greatest catch I ever saw was Aaron Rowan's catch. I will stand by that. For a guy bash his face, hold on to the ball. I'm talking, baby. He did damage to his face. This wasn't. This wasn't the center field catching it over the shoulder, running like that. This guy ran straight into the
wrought iron fence.
I stand by it. That's a top 10 catch, top 5 all time in my book. Because that right there, I understand running in the walls. He's running into a metal fence where he got a bust, but he broke his nose or something. He did.
Yeah, knocked a couple teeth out. Maybe. Yeah, he broke his nose. I know that, and I think he knocked out some teeth.
And he held the ball.
Yep.
And the Phillies fans love him for that.
Oh yeah,
he could have backed 200 for the rest of his career, and they'll still love him for that.
It's a shame that he didn't stick around for 08, man. It really is. It's a shame they couldn't find a way to keep him around for 08. That would have been nice.
Yeah, well, I mean, listen, if he was playing today, man, they keep everybody, as you can tell. Stubbs. No. I mean, they don't
get rid of people anymore. Yeah, no, I agree.
I mean, all you have to do is get Robbie to be your man crush.
Yeah, that's all. You got a job for life.
You got a job. Schwarber won't leave 2. Harper won't leave 3. Marsh will be your everyday left fielder. Stop batting 5th. I mean, man, these guys they're loving Robbie right now. If they get could you see Dusty Baker walking through them doors?
No.
Just an example.
Yeah, no, I couldn't see that.
I'm just talking. Walking through, he's the manager, knowing that these guys are going to be put in the spot where they belong at.
There would be revolt. He's chomping on that toothpick as he walks through the door, scowling at everybody. Oh yeah, no, it would be a bad day.
It's over. All this stuff. My bad. All this stuff. Yeah. I won't do it again. He's going to get in your face. But all right, Matty. You have a good night. You going to be on Sunday, or you're not sure?
I won't be back till Tuesday for this show.
Tuesday. Okay, that's all I need to know. All right,
Papernick. All right, Mike Papernick. Yeah, the Aaron Rowan catch, man, that was badass. All right, I agree. Right into that fence, man. Reminded me of my youth. Total disregard for your body. No idea where the fence is. Smack. And he held on to the ball. I was playing street football when I was probably about 14, 15. Streets of Northeast Philly. You guys all know what they look like. What they look like every other street in Philadelphia. Row homes and the actual streets like one car width long or wide. And we would play telephone to telephone pole, right? And there was the end zone that was down this way was really cramped on both sides. It's funny. So on the left-hand side, so on the right-hand side of the street is where you park the cars. So you're even more limited on the area you could play on because of the cars being parked there. And then on the left-hand side of the street, or the right-hand, whatever direction you're going, where one of the houses were, they all had little driveways in each one of those houses. So you had a little bit more room in between the houses, right? So in the corner end zone on the side where the houses were and the cars weren't, there was a wrought iron fence, railing that led up the steps. And there was a fade pass over my shoulder that I was going for. And as I made the catch, I didn't know where I was, and I sucked on a wrought iron railing fence. And I don't mean the old, the wrought iron fences of today. I mean like the fences that are the stairways, the friggin' railings that they would put in back in the day, made of straight metal. I mean, there was no giving on the actual railing. The give was from me, and I got knocked the hell out. Bashed up the side of my face, bleeding out of my ear. Held on to the ball, man. Touchdown. That's it, man. That's how we were raised. So yeah, that Aaron Rowan catch was awesome. I mean, the Rob Thompson debate will rage on, and it'll rage on all season long until something is done. And I definitely think the conversation is a valid conversation to make a change at manager at this point. I don't buy into the 12 game into the season. It's too short. It's not. The perception is that it's too short, but the reality is with this manager, it's way more than 12. It's 512. So the conversation of moving Rob Thompson along is a valid conversation because in what we've seen out of these 12 games, the most recent bias that we have has been really interesting decisions about how he's running his team. And is he putting the team in the best possible spots they can to be successful? Some of the stats are not saying that he is. A lot of the stats are saying that he's not doing that. Now, you don't win a World Series in April. And that's, I think, the last point of all this I want to talk about is that it's April. It's the first month of a 6-month season. Matty B's April philosophy for baseball teams is very simple. Finish the month at 500 or slightly better and healthy. That's all I require from my baseball team for the first month of the season. And I will go to my grave with that, right? And the Phillies will probably grade out to that position about 500 or slightly better. The bones of this is going to be done in May. This is where Rob Thompson's fate is going to be decided. It's not going to be decided in April unless the wheels completely come off this team and they go 15 games under 500 and have a dreadful month of April. The die will be cast for Rob Thompson in the month of May. It will be. And that's where they'll make their decision about Rob in the month of May. So we're going to have to buck up for the next month and deal with Rob Thompson's ass again. And I agree. It's frustrating. It's very frustrating. All right, let's get to the of the night segment. Then I want to transition to clear the ice. So let's go of the night, and we'll do clear the ice. All right, we're going trifecta tonight. We're doing a 3-way for the other night segment. Phillies prospect, NHL draft prospect, and MLB draft prospect. We're coming out hot out the gate. Let's get into it. We're going to start with our Phillies prospect of the night. We're going to profile the top 30 Phillies prospects in the organization throughout the course of this baseball season. We did our number 1 prospect last night in Aiden Miller. Tonight, we're going at number 2. We're going to try to work our way down the list. The Phillies' ranked second prospect in their system is Mr. Gage Wood. He's probably the hottest little property we got going here. First round draft pick last year, currently playing in Clearwater. Matter of fact, he pitched tonight. Wood's fastball might be good enough to get big league hitters out right now. It sits in the 94 to 96 mile an hour range and touches 98. But it's a combination of velocity, carry, low release, height, and flat approach angle that makes it play up. So that means he's throwing gas, but he's throwing gas with a lot of movement, and that's what you want to see. Obviously, Andrew Painter's start the other night was gas with no movement, and that stinks. That's terrible. Major League Baseball players are going to destroy you that way. You got to have something that runs. He gets elite chase rates along with in-zone misses with the pitch. His 82 to 85 mile an hour curve is his go-to secondary pitch, a power breaker that could be a plus pitch in time, especially if he can learn to land it in the zone more consistently. Since joining the Phillies, Wood has gotten to work on improving his upper 80 slider to give him a shorter breaker he can throw for strikes, and split-fingered off-speed pitch he uses for changeup could give him a fourth usable pitch. That, along with his ability to throw a ton of strikes, gives him a good chance to start. Though his injury history and lack of showing durability could eventually land him in the bullpen. With softer stuff, 40% miss rate against breaking balls and changeups last year. So the bottom line with Gage Wood, this is definitely a kid that came out of the College World Series last year, pitched the no-hitter for Arkansas, landed his way into the Phillies' hearts as their first-round pick in 2025. Remember let's have Gage Wood pitch out of the bullpen for the playoffs conversation last year. That was ridiculous. But he is now firmly in place down in Clearwater. Again, he pitched tonight. Phillies have said all along about Gage Wood, they project him to be a starter. And the stuff we just talked about, we read about it, is fastball that tops out at 98 that has a lot of movement is definitely something that could, and an 85-mile-an-hour curveball is something of major league starter capabilities, and that's what major league starters have. The health and the durability are problems that, a lot of young pitchers have to face early in their career. And this is what coming through the system is designed to do, is sort of teach them that durability or get them through that durability. The Phillies have said all along they project Gage Wood to start. Now, whether or not that is what the reality is of that perception remains to be seen. Excuse me. But either way, 2028 is probably when you're going to start seeing Gage Wood's name popping up around these parts. And whether or not he is the new number 5 starter in that rotation in 2028 or not remains to be seen, but definitely one of the bright spots in the Philly organization as he comes out as our number 2 prospect currently in the Phillies system. So there you have Gage Wood. Let's get into the MLB draft prospect of the night. It's Derek Coryell, the outfielder of Louisiana State, 20-year-old, bats left, throws left, and 6'2", 192 pounds. Coryell resembles a Kristen Yelich at the same stage of their careers. That's lofty expectations to put on a young man, as he is a lean left-hand hitter with excellent bat-to-ball skills, but perhaps not more than fringy power. He uses fluid stroke and mature approach to spray hard line drive balls all over the field. Oh my God! Shudder the thought. His swing is somewhat flat, and he may not have more average strength or bat speed, so he might not deliver more than 15 to 20 homers per season. Who cares? Though Yelich grew into a surprising pop in his mid-20s. This is another example of that pendulum swinging back towards hitters and not exit velo, launch angle, analytic nonsense. This is another example of a young player who's being taught how to hit, and how these players have all of a sudden popped up onto Major League Baseball teams' radars. I would be over the moon with a 192-pound, 6'2" left fielder who hits line drives all over the baseball field. You could not. I would be giddy with excitement for somebody like that, especially in this lineup. Coryell does project top 5, so there's a lot of attention being paid on him this year. I doubt he's going to be there at 36 when the Phillies pick in the first round. So a pipe dream is definitely what Derek Coryell will be for the Phillies, but a great addition for any team would be that pick him up and stash him down in the system and wait and watch him develop. And again, it's that pendulum sliding back to that more fundamental, we're going to teach you kids how to actually hit a baseball versus get up there and just, hack a shack. And we're getting away from that. So Derek Coryell, a highly touted draft prospect in this year's draft, is your MLB draft prospect of the night. Let's wrap it up with our NHL draft prospect. J.P. Hurlburt, a forward out of the Kamloops Blazers of the Western Hockey League, 6 foot, 185 pound, known for rapid release compared to elite scores and high-end, what is that? Spatial. That's spatial, not spatial, spatial awareness. He has quickly established himself as a top prospect in this draft year, often playing on the wing, but with experience as center. High IQ, 2026 NL draft eligible forward with the Kamloops Blazers, regarded as elite offensive talent with an NHL caliber shot and strong playmaking skills. Top 5 prospect coming out of the draft. I don't see this kid at 183 pounds and 6 foot being any sort of center situation. A left winger or a winger, doesn't really matter what side, I guess, is pretty much where he would fit into. Again, a top 10, I think he's projected at. And right now, the Flyers are not going to be picking anywhere near the top 10. But a good-looking young player in a draft that's not really seeded with much standout talent in terms of come off the headlines and grab you, other than, of course, Gavin McKenna, who's a projected number 1. But JP would definitely fit and be that. He's the mold of the I don't want to compliment Trevor Zegras, but he's in that mold of player, right? He's in that sort of playmaking vein, right? Where, he's a facilitator, quick hands with an NHL caliber shot. So second line guy, maybe on any NHL roster, top 10 projected talent. JP Hurlburt of the Kamloops Blazers is your NHL draft prospect of the night. That is going to take us to the end of this program, but stay tuned because coming at you in about 40 seconds, we are going to transition to the Clear the Ice Flyer postgame show. Better late than never. Flyers lost 6-3 tonight. Was it 6-3 or was it 6-2? I've already forgotten. 6-3. So let's pause for the cause. Let's get into the Flyers, and here we go. Yes, indeed. Welcome to the Clear the Ice, a Flyers postgame show here on the It's Rap Sports Network. Your boy, MattyB, on the call. You might have remembered me from the final word from about 40 seconds ago. Let's get into this. Saving the best for last tonight. Spent a lot of time on the first hour and 38 minutes of this sort of broadcast hour speaking and venting about the Phillies for rightful reasons. But now it's time to transition that, and let's talk about a terrible, terrible showing tonight from the Philadelphia Flyers and a must-win game for the Detroit Red Wings, who certainly played that way. Flyers looked uninterested in this hockey game. They looked, listen, some of the carryover from what's been happening on this team over the past 6-8 weeks was definitely on display. They're still greatly have improved in their neutral zone transitional game. Their spacing is amazing. They're seeing the ice. It seems like they're all seeing the ice really well. But tonight, I think bad goaltending, which is a situation we're going to address, and also maybe they're smelling themselves a bit. And I know that this is an opportunity, and Talkett's probably looking at it in that vein with a team that's, the perception is that they're a playoff contending, playoff noise-making team. The reality is they are not, right? They are a team that's in year 3 of a rebuild, devoid of a lot of pieces that truly make you a Stanley Cup caliber type team. Now, the reality is they're going to make the playoffs. I firmly believe that at this point, barring an extreme drop-off, and what I mean, like no points over the next 3 games, the final 3 games of the season. And I think even then, they still make the playoffs because of what's happening around the Eastern Conference. So, but tonight was a watermark game. Tonight was a game I wanted to see how this team responded to a team that's in dire need of points in the Detroit Red Wings. We mentioned it the other night. I think it was on either the Final Word Monday night or whenever I did the first show this week. I said Detroit's going to come out and play like it was Game 7 of a Stanley Cup final, and that's what they did. And the Flyers were overwhelmed by that. Now, does that give people pause for concern? Because the playoff speed versus regular season speed is a different beast. And we saw tonight a playoff speed-like game, at least from one team's standpoint. And we saw the Flyers turtle up a little bit on their end. The other factor of this game, how much worse can this special teams be? It's amazing right now how bad the Flyers are on special teams. The power play, well documented. Tonight, 1 for 6. 1 for 6 on the power play. They were given 6 opportunities on the man advantage, and not only did they not cash those opportunities in, they gave up a shorthanded goal, which we'll get into a little bit later on. On the PK, Detroit went 3 for 4 on their power play. So the Flyers cannot get out of their own goddamn way on special teams. And if they cannot figure out the special teams woes from this team, all this great good news story that the Flyers are in 25, 26, and they are, is going to get flushed down the toilet in the playoffs if you cannot be semi-competent on special teams. 15% effective on the power play for the season, 78% effective shorthanded. Terrible numbers for a playoff team. The lowest of any of the playoff teams projected this year on special teams. Well-documented problems with the power play. I'm not blaming the coaches here. I'm blaming the players on this one. 1%. I mean, good God, man. What's the numbers here? I keep track of this because that's what kind of life I lead. So since the 21-22 season, again, this is not indicative of this year, but since the 21-22 season, the Flyers are 162 for 1,142 on the power play. That is 14% effective on the power play over the last 5 seasons. It's not a new story. It's something that's been a problem all throughout this latest edition of the Flyers. It's been an issue that they've been dealing with. We fired multiple head coaches, multiple power play coaches along the way, and it hasn't improved. It's slightly better this year than it was over the last couple of seasons, because a lot of seasons in the recent past, we're talking 12% effective, but still 15 ain't going to get the bills paid, man. It's just not. And it's no secret where the problem is. We just don't have the talent on the power play. We don't have that guy. We don't have our Connor McDavid. We don't have our Dylan Larkin or Alex DeBrincat, who bit us in the ass tonight. We don't have that guy. Celebrini, Bedard. I mean, I can go down the list. Ovechkin. We don't have that guy. I think you guys understand what I'm trying to say. And until that guy shows up, all this little heady good news story Flyers stuff is going to go for naught. Because if they can't score in the power play in the playoffs, folks, they're not going far in the playoffs. They're not. And if they can't keep the puck out of their own net shorthanded, they certainly ain't going to go far. So the power play bit him on the ass tonight. The other aspect of this game that was mildly frustrating was the play of Dan Vladar. Talked about it last week heading down the stretch of this season. What was the plan in net for this team heading down the stretch? Was it to ride Vladar out every other day? Put your best foot forward. Don't give Sam Ersson an opportunity to affect this team adversely. Confidence level on Ersson is not what you would say through the roof. The Flyers have obviously, it looks like that their plan was to do that with Vladar, play him every other day as they've been going through this week. Vladar, if you want to say he looked tired, you want to say his defense let him down, because we're going to talk 2 goals tonight. We're going to talk 2 goals that are not Dan Vladar's fault, and I'm going to explain what I mean by that. But Vladar faced 8 shots before giving way to Ersson, gave up 4 goals, finishes the night with a .500 save percentage. Ersson, 14 shots faced, 12 saves, finishes the night with a .857 save percentage. Obviously, Sam Ersson's not the answer. And yes, do you sit back and say, I have concern because Vladar has played way more hockey than he's ever played in his career before. I have concern because Vladar is going to be that guy in the playoffs. Is there now an opportunity, or is there now a conference or a conversation inside the Flyer dressing room to say, you know what, we got to give him some time off? Do we just ride out Ersson, put Ersson in on Saturday? If we win, then, we kind of probably would have locked things up by then, and then we just, do what we got to do for those last 2 games? Or, are you still committed to riding out Vladar until this thing is locked up? And what effect is that going to have on him heading into the playoffs? Now, there will be at least a 3 to 4 day break for the Flyers in between the end of the regular season and the start of the playoffs. But then once we get into that, then you're playing every day, or you're playing every other day, basically, through your run in the playoffs. Can Vladar hold up? Is he starting to show the signs of fatigue? Not a good night for him. On the other side, the Red Wings went with 2 goalies as well. Gibson, 15, started the game, faced 15 shots, made 13 saves, a .867 save percentage. Cam Talbot came in, 12 shots faced. He gave up a goal. Finished with a 917 save percentage. Let's head over to the box score on this bad boy. Let's talk some admin stuff before we get into it. Flyers healthy scratches or inactives tonight: Garrett Wilson, Garnet Hathaway, Noah Juleson, Carl Grunderson, Nikita Gerbankin. For the Red Wings, Travis Hammock, Mason Appleton, Michael Rasmussen, Alexei Sandin, Palinka were the inactives for the Red Wings. And let's get right to it. First off the bat, the Flyers and the Red Wings at the Little Caesar. Is this still Little Caesars out there? Little Caesar Arena. I know it's not Joe Louis. Alex DeBrincat, his 40th goal on the power play at the 2:28 mark of the first period, in a goal that it was mystifying. We're going to look at it here in a second. Raymond and Sider with the assists on the goal to give the Red Wings the 1-0 lead. And, of course, it was on the power play. Did I mention the Flyers were a terrible the Red Wings were on the power play 4 times, and the Flyers surrendered 3 shorthanded goals. It's just amazing. But DeBrincat gets the scoring going, and let's bring up that goal because it's definitely worth a second look. It was a mystifying goal, if you ask me. I really like seeing it. Let's bring it up. So let's pick up the action inside the Flyers zone as the Red Wings are going to cycle the puck, try to get themselves an opportunity to score. I don't put this on Vladar at all. I don't. This is just a thing of beauty. This is Alex DeBrincat being Alex DeBrincat. This is a 40-goal scorer being a 40-goal scorer. Raymond is going to wait for things to kind of wait for DeBrincat to make his move, and there he goes. He's going to slide in. Again, you're shorthanded, but there's certain players you got to keep an eye on, and they're not keeping an eye on DeBrincat right now, as we're just going to keep moving this puck around. And then I don't know what you do about that. I really don't. You can call a little bit of a defensive breakdown, but that was Cam York standing off to the right. But if York leaves this player down low, then you have an opportunity on the long side. I don't know what you do. Let's look at this thing again. This is just a thing of beauty. This is DeBrincat being DeBrincat. Again, you see York, he's got his eye on him. He's waiting for something to go down with him. He's putting himself in position, but he's sort of playing in neutral territory. Then he's just not reacting at all. But Travis Sanheim does recover. But what the hell do you do there? You don't know what you do with that, man. That's DeBrincat's goal to give the Red Wings a 1-0 lead. As I said, I don't necessarily blame the Flyers defense on that. That was just a thing, not a thing, a thing of beauty. But the Flyers would get it even at the 13:24 mark. Christian Dvorak's 18th from Martone, his 4th, and Travis Konechny, his 40th. That was a tip-in play that tied the game up at 1, and that would be your scoring heading into the first intermission for the period. The Flyers were all over the Red Wings on the shot totals, 11-4, but only could get 1 goal for their efforts. Second period, Mortiz Sider, his 10th on the power play. You're gonna be hearing power play and shorthanded a lot here. Patrick Kane is 39th and Larkin is 31st to give the Red Wings a 2-1 lead at the 32-second mark of the period. Very well documented. You can't give them up early in the periods, and you really can't give them up late. But that's going to get the Red Wings the lead. And then here comes the Dylan Larkin show, the gold medalist, Olympian, all-time great Detroit Red Wing. His first goal came at the 150 mark of the period on the power play. Again, his 32nd from Kane and Sider to make it 3-1. And then the goal that broke the back of the Flyers, as the Flyers were, down 3-1 or down. Yeah, it was just down 3-1 at this point. But still, you kind of felt like, especially what this team has been like over the past 6 to 8 weeks, there's a chance here, man. We've seen them come back. We've seen them do things throughout this little run that makes you believe. And all season long, honestly, it's not just throughout this little time frame. All season long, they've been very resilient and battled their way back into games. But this goal here, on the Flyer power play, mind you, have I mentioned on the Flyer power play? The Flyers are on the power play here. This is a goal that broke the back, and this is a goal that tells me, again, just how far away the Flyers are, and they truly are a young team. Let's roll the tape. Again, we're going to pick up play inside the Red Wing zone. Flyers are doing a really good job of cycling the puck, keeping control of the puck, trying to set something up. Things do kind of open up here at the point for Tyson Forster. Again, a very good little sequence here as heads up, looking for the pass. Here we go. Forster is going to get the puck with some momentum, and he's got separation, and he's walking his way up. He's got traffic in front. I know the camera angle here is not that good, but to kind of give you the perspective from the overhead view, he's got room. He's got some opportunities. He's got Martone right in front of him. He's got a Red Wing player in front of Martone, and he's got a Flyers player in front of him. He's got traffic, and you can see he's looking, he's maneuvering his way, kind of go to the outside or the inside of the dot to set him up for a shot. But then he does something you just can't do. He forces a pass far side. There was no reason, in my opinion, because I saw this in real time. I'm like, no, don't pass it, because I could see the play. The player kind of slid down. There was a slight avenue for a pass here, but you had so much of a scorer's opportunity in front of you with all the traffic. So you get a shot on net. All right, you don't score, but you potentially have a rebound. You got two players crashing. Actually, you'll have three players versus one Red Wing defender, because you got a Red Wing defender on the ice. You have three players crashing the net. You have an opportunity for a rebound. Forster forces the pass. It's a terrible pass. It goes awry, and then here we go. The Red Wings are going to start back shorthanded on the transition, 2-on-1, and here comes Dylan Larkin with a full head of steam, and you just knew it. I knew it. We knew it. Watching it, Forster's late, but he makes a hell of a chance to try to get back into the play, and then Larkin's going to go backhand, the forehand, and Forster sort of over pursues, and then Vladar's just kind of hung out to dry on the play. And that was it, man. That was the game. That was the backbreaker for me. I knew that it was curtains after that. I get what they're doing. I understand the philosophy. They're feeling good. They're feeling confident about themselves. But you can't get away from like hockey. And you just had a better opportunity to take the shot there. Don't force a pass, cross ice. Take a shot. You had numbers in front of the net for a potential rebound situation. Instead, you really, again, I think that was an overconfident move by Tyson Forster to make a pass there where he really should have taken the shot. Again, that was Larkin's 33rd and second of the night, but the Flyers would get it somewhat reasonable about 5 minutes later. Porter Martone, his second goal of the night, 2-point night for Martone. Zegras and Drysdale on the helpers, and that is what you would have going into the second period intermission, 4-2 at this point. Detroit flipped the script on the Flyers in the second period, out shooting them 12-6, setting up the third period. And it was at 7:01, Patrick Kane, he would put in his 16th from Evison and Sider to make it 5-2. And then Larkin would complete the Hattie, making it 6-2 at the 11:39 mark. His 34th from Schneider and Raymond, 50 assists now for both of them on the season. And Luke Glendening would get the Flyers at 18:09, his second of the year from Barkey and Couturier. And that's how you get 6-3. It's not really that hard to figure out where this game went off the rails. Special teams has been dreadful for the Flyers. It's not been one of their strengths all season, and tonight definitely bit them on the ass. And when given opportunities to sort of sway the momentum back, you got to take the opportunity to sway the momentum back. And not good goaltending, as we saw there. So that was your final for the game, 6-3. Flyers would outshot Detroit in the third period, 10-6. On the game, they outshot Detroit 27-22. Flyers were 1 for 6 on their power play. Detroit was 3 for 4 on theirs. And there it tells you with all you need to know, as well as a shorthanded goal. Flyers would take the puck away 3 times, give it away 12, and force 13 block shots. And there you have it, 6-3. And the Flyers missed an opportunity to really kind of put some more space in between them and their competition, sort of locking down that playoff spot. But they did not do it tonight, so we'll have to regroup for Saturday night as we'll take our show on the road to Winnipeg for our final regular season road game in Western Canada and on the season, as the Flyers will battle the Winnipeg Jets and the Olympic gold medal stand on your head Connor Hellebuyck, as the Flyers will try to get their points back, get some more points, get a little bit more distance. before wrapping the season up next week. So Mike Lauro will have the call for you Saturday night. This is, by the way, our Fightins final for the weekend. Mike will have you Friday. I'm coming at you over the Saturday and Sunday. So you'll be seeing me this weekend on the Fightins final. So never fear, I'll be there. Folks, been fun. Final word, clear the ice, a twofer. We've been doing them a lot lately. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your night. Make sure you're stay tuned for the great programming here on the network. Once again, here's your schedule coming up for the weekend. Tomorrow, look out for the Phillies D-backs post-game and then everything else that's happening over the weekend. Be good, everybody. Have a great night. Enjoy your Friday, last day of the work week for a lot of you. And we'll talk again over the weekend. Take care.